Hey guys, Klundros here. So I did not expect. I did the video yesterday for uh, geez, what song was it that I did yesterday? Oh, the Silosis song. I did not expect that I'd be doing another video so soon, but I got a notification today that Panopticon had dropped a new song, which isn't actually a new song, although it's not one that I've actually ever heard before. Um, but it's actually off of a live, double live album that they're putting out. Uh, I'm not sure when it's coming out. Let's see. Um, if I can get some information here on when it actually is coming out. All right, let's see. Um, just says coming soon. Doesn't give a date. But oh no, here it is. Well, a general date. It says April 2020. So next month, sometime. Actually, no, a couple months from now. That's actually we got a little while before this comes out. So this is it was recorded in 2018 at Migration Fest. I don't know what that is. I've seen stuff from Migration Fest before, though. Um, like I want to say I saw a live video of Kralis playing at Migration Fest, and I think I saw a live. I think I saw a live video of like fan shot, not like a pro shot one of Nachochuan playing something from them. So it might be more like folk, black metal, or sort of avant-garde, black metal, which Krallis is definitely not folk black metal. They're much more like I would say like avant-garde. They're a pretty unusual band. That's just one where I think it'd be cool to do a reaction to them at some point, because their stuff is really interesting. It's very unique. But anyways, I saw that they had dropped this song, and having not ever heard this particular song, wanted to do a reaction to it, and went to try and find lyrics to this song, and seriously, there is no fucking lyrics to this song to be found anywhere. And like, this is a public service announcement to like any black metal bands, because black metal songs a lot of times have phenomenal lyrics. Put your freaking lyrics out there. And because, most people can't understand like the lyrics, the way that they're sung. I mean, you might catch a little bit every now and then, like you might catch some parts of it, but like being able to understand the whole song. This is not like a clean sung power metal song where you can pull the lyrics out just by listening to it. So like, yeah, I mean, that's my public service announcement to black metal bands. Please, especially for bands like Panopticon, where literally Panopticon is one guy. It's his name is Austin Lunn. Dude is just phenomenally talented. And this is a case with a lot of black metal bands that I like, are one man bands that are phenomenally talented. So, but man, guys, get your lyrics out there, because a lot of them are amazing. Like, I've seen some lyrics from some of the songs on Kentucky, and I mean the songwriting is awesome. So, anyways, that being said, I'm really interested to hear this live, because, as I mentioned, it's a one-man band. I'm guessing he had session musicians that were playing with him at this live show. But yeah, I mean, I'm kind of interested to hear what this is going to sound like. And I did notice one interesting thing when I was checking to try and find lyrics. The original song is 6 minutes and 40 seconds. The live version is like 4 minutes and 20 seconds. So either the song is being sped up or there's some interludes that were cut out. Maybe parts that he wasn't able to reproduce live, due to, having session musicians or whatever. So I'm not sure what the circumstances is for that. On my own time, I'll probably listen to the studio version to try and hear what the differences are. But yeah, so the original album this was off of was Autumn Eternal. For those who like the song and want to get the original album, because like I said, this is not going to be out for a while. The live album's not going to be out for a while, and it's 9 tracks. Now, if you're at all familiar with Panopticon, 9 tracks might not seem like a lot, but I can tell you that Panopticon songs tend to be very long. This one is not, but some of their songs are very long. About 4 or 5 days ago, they released the split that they did with Nichochuan, and as you guys know, because I reacted to one of the Nichochuan songs, I'm a huge fan of them. So I listened to that whole album, and it's interesting. But the one of the things that's really funny is so Nichochuan has like 4 songs on there. Panopticon has 1 song, but the Panopticon song is like 22 minutes long. And I might actually do a reaction to it at some point. It's actually a really good song. And the whole split is great. The thing that struck me as really funny about it is the Nichochuan's the single that was kind of released off of the album which is called a song called The Megalith. It is actually not a song I really like all that much because it's so radically different from Nichochuan's usual material. It's very, very I don't know I'm struggling to find the word to describe it. In parts of it reminded me a little bit of Deathspell Omega. There was like Nichochuan's usual stuff is very melodic. Panopticon stuff is it's kind of their stuff is unique, and I'm not sure this particular song what this one is like, but their songs range wildly. He does clean vocals, he does obviously black metal vocals. Musically, he incorporates a lot of Appalachian folk elements, and I'm a big fan of that particular style. There's another one-man band that I love called Appalachian Winter that's Appalachian folk, black metal, and so I really like that particular style. And so he uses a lot of instruments and stuff that sort of play into that. Like he'll use like a resonator and it's got a very different sound. So I don't know if that will be represented on this particular song, but just know that this particular song is probably not going to be at all representative of the overall sound of the band because they are Panopticon has a very wide-ranging sound palette. Nichochuan is pretty fairly straightforward. They're very much melodic folk, black metal, and don't really stray too far away from that. They do use some clean vocals, a lot of folk elements, a lot of traditional Native American sounding passages to kind of give their songs unique. But their style is pretty well defined, so that's why that Megalith song was such a surprise. But the Megalith song is neat because it features Austin Lunn on vocals and a singer from another black metal band that I'm not familiar with. Don't know the name off the top of my head. So there's actually 3 singers. So there's definitely a different vocal style to the song for sure, and it's a much more aggressive, more raw sounding song overall. So Anyways, there's a little bit of background about Panopticon, and so hopefully this is going to be good. I don't really know what I'm going to be getting into here. I've never heard anything from them live before, and frankly, I'm a little surprised because a lot of these one-man bands don't do many live shows because, I mean, it's kind of difficult if you're just the only person in the band. You got to get a bunch of session musicians and stuff, and a lot of times they'll lean on other bands that they're, running the same circles with. So I'd be interested to know who the musicians that are playing with him on this live version are, whether they're guys from other black metal bands, and Panopticon particularly does tons of splits. And splits is very much a black metal sort of thing. You don't see that too much outside of black metal. There are some death metal bands that will do splits and some black thrash bands that will do splits, but a split is basically literally just what it sounds like. You split half the album with another band, in theory. So it may only be one song, which is it's basically a small EP, or it could be 6 songs and 6 songs. It depends on what they're going for with the album. So, but this was from a full-length album, Autumn Eternal. So let's check this out and see what it sounds like. fucking hell. That song was fucking amazing. Wow. I've heard a couple Panopticon songs, and that is actually by far my favorite one that I've heard. Wow, what a great song. And again, very different from anything I think I've heard from them. There are certain elements I would say that the one thing that I will say about Panopticon and why they're so amazing, even amongst a lot of other great one-man acts, one of the really awesome things about Panopticon is the wall of sound. And, a lot of sort of atmospheric black metal bands will do this, but, he's just a master at just sort of building layers and layers and layers of sound. And you can hear it right actually from the beginning of this track. But like at 3:30, you have that crazy awesome lead part comes back in, and then you have like just all the stuff that's been kind of introduced before at various earlier points in the song, all popping up at the same time, and it's just this beautiful wall of sound at the end of that track. Man, I really want to hear the studio version now, because I'm curious as to what was taken out, because the song, so I was a little worried because I couldn't find lyrics that it was an instrumental, but it was definitely not an instrumental. The vocals were great, just the kind of black metal vocals I like, sort of in that sort of mid to high range sort of spot, not too like just over the top, like shrieking like Leviathan or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, this was just really, really fucking good. I don't even really know where to start with, I would say, well, I mean, being a guitarist myself, the leads throughout the song immediately grabbed me. But there were some really cool sections of tremolo picking. I liked the, kind of at around I think it was around the 40-minute mark here. Let's see. That lead is amazing. Okay, this part was really cool because you have that ultra melodic lead, and then you have this ultra crazy, sort of blast beat style drum, sections that were sort of punctuated by this like slow melodic, sort of folk tinged like lead riff that was going on throughout, and I love the dichotomy of that. And he only did it at this part of the song. That melodic lead shows up several points throughout the song, and then is modified to that awesome part at the very end of the song, which I'm going to jump to because that was my favorite part of the song. The last 2 minutes to me were just mind blowing. But I did think it was really cool that they had that, because I'm not a huge fan of like black metal songs that are just nothing but blast beats the whole way through. But I think you can use it in ways that are, for effect that will really, really work. And I think in this song, those sections worked really, really well. For that brief time that they were there. So I thought that was a really cool thing that he did. I think it was around this point. Had some blast beats coming there. And see, in that, okay, so that was when, so that was, the blast beats did come back there, but everything, this was the part I was talking about when I said that like everything had come back at this point. Like all the different musical themes that he introduced all throughout the song, everything is being layered on top at the end here in this last 40 seconds of the song. And I mean, what an incredible way to end a song. I love songs that build. You know, I'm a fan of Tool, and one of the things that I love about Tool songs, like the best Tool songs, is that they build and build and build to like a really terrific climax to the song. Like Schism is a great example. 46-2 is another great. Those are like probably my two favorite Tool songs, and both of them just are continuously building. And I love that, and that's actually sort of more of something you typically see with prog bands will do that a lot. Rush used to do this a lot. Dream Theater did it a lot. But I think, particularly with Rush and Dream Theater, it was in a much more prog way, so to speak, where, Tool approaches it from a more sort of leaner metal approach. And this is totally a black metal approach where, it's got that sort of wall of sound that some of the best black metal bands are able to produce. And I mean, if you go all the way back to Emperor, I think is a great example. Like if you listen to like Inoue Satana, that song, like, it just builds and builds and builds, like layers of sound, to give you this wall. But yet there's tons of melody, and there's a lot of stuff to pull. It's not just noise. And I think one of my criticisms against, so I did a reaction to Decibel Omega, I think "Standing on the Work of Slaves," I think was the name of the song. And I really did like that song. But my criticism against Decibel Omega in the past had always been that like a lot of their songs were just so chaotic. A lot of times it just often felt like a wall of noise. It was difficult to pull melody from the chaos. And now I realize that is a stylistic choice, and some people want that. Some people that's a particular type of black metal that a lot of people really like, and it's not something I've really gotten around to embracing yet. I'm relatively new to black metal. I mean, I've been listening to it now for probably about 4 years, but I was definitely late to sort of come into this. I started with like power and prog, and kind of went into death metal, with like melodic death metal. Death was actually the band that kind of got me into death metal, and then into melodic death metal, technical death metal, and then finally really getting into black metal. I did always like Emperor. Like I heard that album. I specifically heard Inoue Satana a long time ago and liked it. Always have liked that song, but never really kind of got around to listening to the catalog and listening to any other black metal bands. But there's such a vast variety of black metal bands, and so many bands like Panopticon, where it's literally one guy creating this just amazing stuff. And like Nochochoan is, I think, two guys. Appalachian Winter is one guy. I mean, it's amazing that you have this incredible material. And as much as I dislike it, as much as I dislike their music, I got to give props to like Leviathan, because that's another band that it's one guy, and he's put out a ton of stuff. And kind of sort of, I think one of the more highly regarded examples of that particular style. It's not something I've really been able to get into. I can't really get into the DSBM stuff. And it's funny because the first, I think I probably heard sort of one of the more well-known examples of the style was the first thing I ever heard, which was Silencer's. I think it was Death Pierce Me. But Silencer was the first band that I heard, and you know, it's funny because as much as the vocals were just almost comical, which I know it really should not be, the music is great, and you know, it's a thing where like I can see myself over time probably slowly embracing these more fringer styles of black metal as time goes on. But I mean, this you know, Panopticon to me is just so in the space that I am enjoying right now. I've always loved folk metal, and you know, just their mix of folk and black metal is just so great. And it's so funny because I love Primordial, and Primordial is like a similar mix of styles, but in a completely different weight. So with Primordial, you have much more folk metal and doom influence than black metal, unless you listen to very early Primordial. And then with Panopticon, you have a lot more black metal influence. So there really are actually great complements to each other. I find I'll often listen to the two bands together, like in a playlist, because they really, you know, kind of work. And it's the case with a lot of black and folk, or you know, Appalachian folk. You know, I'll listen to a lot of those bands kind of in the same sort of space because they just do complement each other really well. This is such a good song. Yeah, I wish I had the lyrics. If anyone out there has the lyrics to this song, or I mean, if by some crazy circumstance Austin happens to see this, I would love to know the lyrics to this song, so I could do like another like short video, sort of you know, diving into the lyrics, because I'm sure they're awesome. But yeah, this is great. I can't recommend this highly enough. And this was a really good live recording too. You know, props to whoever did this recording, because the sound on this is excellent. And yeah, I'm really excited for this live album actually now. And definitely will be picking this up when it's released in April. So I would encourage anyone who enjoyed this particular song, you know, definitely pick this up. Pick up the studio album, Autumn Eternal, as well. So yeah, great stuff. This is an 11 out of 10 for me. This is great. So Calendos out.